Harrison, you are a long way from home.
I am. I went to school here in Florida, grew up in New York, but now I live in Los Angeles, California, in a town called Highland Park, and I am here with you.
Welcome to Tampa, man.
Thanks for having me.
So I should say,
Tampa.
So I should say, I've been keeping up with you for a couple years now. First time I saw you was on TikTok when you made remixes of ASAP Mob music, right?
I did, yeah. There was Frat Rules, which kind of started good things on TikTok for me last year. And then the other one's called ASAP Forever. Yeah, by ASAP Mob.
Yeah, and now you're in Tampa, and actually right after this, we're going to see Matroda at Water, which is very exciting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So you currently live in California.
Sure do.
Yeah. So I know you grew up in Florida. I want to hear origins of Harrison, because right now you have songs that are blowing up on Spotify, which is incredible. I love your smile.
Yes.
Right. Well, I was just saying that to you.
I love your smile.
Aw. I wish that I had my pad closer, because I have like an aw button.
Oh, really?
Don't worry about it, Amanda. You're good. So, yeah. I love your smile right now. It's been It's been playlisted.
Yeah. It's been featured on a playlist called Fresh Finds, which is I think the biggest Spotify playlist for independent music. Fresh Finds Dance. It's #1, and another playlist called Creamy, which is electronic music over a broad spectrum, but all very admirable things, and it makes me feel like seeing something I made next to names I've looked up to my whole life feels like maybe I'm doing something right, and this is worthwhile.
Yeah, do me a favor. So when you're talking, and you're talking directly into the mic, which is awesome, but the camera is not going to see half your face. So you want to talk more.
This is why I'm here. I'm learning.
Yeah, you want it to be like right here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I want to get into your full history of music production, because you do what DJs are supposed to do, which is actually make music. If you want to get on those big stages, you can't get there by playing other people's music. And even inviting you here, you were concerned about what you were going to be DJing on, because you don't and I'm not trying to shit on you, but you don't have a lot of experience actually DJing, correct?
I DJ'd a lot in college, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, at Stetson University, which is
Oh, you went to Stetson?
2 hours north. Yeah, that's how we know our mutual.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Me and my friend were the DJs of our school.
Cool.
My school's not a huge school, but we basically ran the DJ scene.
Right.
So that's kind of where I came from, actually, in terms of first doing something creative was DJing.
So how did you first get into DJing?
Sure. I think when I got into electronic music in 2012, a few years later, me and my friend bought a DJ Wego, little $300 thing, and just started learning the software. And that's when I kind of learned arrangement, because you'd make cue points for doing mashups. And yeah, that's kind of the first, just being really inspired. And
what kind of parties were you DJing? Were you DJing, was this clubs? Was this frat pre-games?
Yeah, first it started in my dorm room, just ratchet pre-games, on campus, housing 10 people in a room with the beer pong table taking up 60% of the room type thing.
What kind of music was it?
It was what was going on in 2014, 2013. 2013 is my freshman year in college. So a lot of mainstreamish big room kind of electronic music.
So electronic music.
Yes.
Okay. So not rap and stuff.
Maybe a little bit here and there. I've always been a follower of hip hop and very inspired by it.
Right, because when it comes to frat, I've been to my fair share of frat pre-games, and Rush Fightah, and and what I find is that with the right crew, house music can go over really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, house music, I feel engages body and engages, and the repetitiveness of it can help the situations, or just feel the energy.
And you know, I love that you just said the repetitiveness of house music can like really affect the energy, because it can really go both ways. Because I think that the biggest complaint about house music is that it's too repetitive. Like, people who don't really like house music say, "Oh, I can't listen to that. It's so repetitive."
Right. I mean, all music is repetitive. I think if you were to look at any songs that people love, there's repetitiveness. It might more so be like people just don't want to hear loud drums, and like a lot of house music has like a darker tonality sometimes at like clubs and places, so people might not like that more so than just the repetitive. They might not like boom 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 all the time.
And also the factor of like you know, a lot of places, a lot of bars and clubs that you go to, you're going there because you want to sing out loud and you want to hear those songs that everybody loves, and that's super fun. But with house music, you're specifically going to a venue where you are excited about hearing new music.
Yeah. I think sharing music in an open space with people and hearing new things is a beautiful part of music. One that inspired me to like initially start being creative with music was hearing things, whether at music festivals or just being with friends, like playing beer pong in basements and listening to, like, I remember when Flowstradamus was first a thing in like 2012 and like trap started happening, like Harlem Shake, RL Grime, that kind of stuff, like 2012, just hearing those songs and with like the lights low and playing beer pong with friends was like super inspirational. Just being like, I don't know, feeling like we're onto something like new.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember the RL Grime Halloween mixtapes?
Yeah, of course. I remember this mix where it was like, it's kind of like a meme now, but the guy's like, "Damn, son, where'd you find this?" And like,
"Damn, son, where'd you find
the
this?
The Empire's gonna, like, I don't know, it was just this weird talking over.
Trapaholics mixtape.
Exactly, yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so hearing stuff with people, whether in huge crowds or small situations, is like the most inspiring for me.
Yeah. So how did you go from DJing frat parties to now having songs that are being massively streamed on Spotify, to being to being placed in big time playlists on Spotify? How did that transition happen?
Yeah. It was a slow transition. I mean, I was DJing for 3 years, just having fun, being at school. Kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, so a lot of what school provided for me was just a place to like experiment and, you know, be with friends and find what I like and don't like, and learn about myself, learn about other people, things like that. But by the time I was, I think it was junior year in college, I was like, I think I want to start playing around with Ableton, and luckily I have my cousin who is a musician that was kind of there to guide me when I had the inspiration. I had like a mentor to ask help and help guide me. So that's amazing that you had a mentor. I think having a mentor is extremely important in whatever you want to do. What is a really tangible piece of information that your mentor gave you in regards to music production? Sure. I think when I first started, I was trying to do like way too much, or I was also a novice, but like just learning fundamentals, following inspiration. I remember just being so excited just to like explore Ableton, even though I didn't understand the program, understand the language. Ableton's the program I use. Just being excited to use it, and starting with fundamentals, meaning like I was learning an instrument, the piano, and that was a good basis for me to like base my music knowledge off of in a way, and also just to like keep it simple.
So what did your mentor tell you?
Simple. I remember sending him something that I made, which was like terrible, which is really bad. And he's like he was like really good. And it was very nice of him to be like, down
good.
Here.
Yeah. Just like right here is perfect.
Right here is perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Or like just here, because like you don't want to be like right here. You want to be just right here. You know, like think about, it can be like parallel to your chin. You know.
Like this.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah.
My mentor didn't tell me one thing directly or necessarily. It was more so over time encouraging me to learn fundamentals and to try to keep things like really simple.
I think that's such an important thing that not a lot of people recognize. Learning the fundamentals is the most important thing of really anything. Because without the fundamentals, you're not going to see the forest through the trees. So, you can play with plugins and you can spend thousands of dollars on plugins all day. But if you don't know that, Command Shift M creates like a MIDI track,
Sure.
which is like just such a basic thing, then you're not gonna be able to use any of that stuff.
Yeah. Short hotkeys, shortcuts are great. Also, just learning a little bit of music theory helped because I just didn't know what I was doing really at all. I was just like drawing things in and like hoping for the best.
So, when did you start learning music theory?
Sure. About that time, 2017, when I was like a senior, I was learning piano like every day, and ever since then it's just been kind of a continuous. I feel like music was it came later in my life, sort of, a bit through the DJing when I was 17, and then it came on later in my life. But since I kind of picked it up, I really haven't like put it down. It's just been continuous, like growth, like literally since then.
How did you learn piano?
I took a little bit of a class in school, like an elective my senior year. Other than that, it's just been like everything self-taught. Learning, I feel like the best way to learn is learning songs that you really like, because there's like a connection to a feeling, and that's really, it's really inspiring, and that makes you want to learn more. And you play something and you're like, wow, I can play this thing that I love and that other people like, and it's not like impossible. It's like it's all right here, and on the piano. So
how does learning piano and learning music theory affect your skills in electronic music production?
Sure, yeah. I mean, because when you make a song, it's usually in one key, and it's sort of a musical key is like a boundary of notes which you play with, basically. A set of notes. I think there's 7 notes that you can play with in a key, and I think starting out it helps a lot to not have like dissonances and odd things happening, and to be able to know
what's a dissonance,
where you're hanging out. What's a dissonance in music? I mean, there's dissonances in real life too. Like marriages have dissonance, human relationships have dissonance. You can have resistance to a situation.
So define it.
Feeling. I think dissonance. Well, in music, I mean, it's two things being. It's literally when two frequencies are like disharmonious, and it creates
a clash.
It creates a clash. Sometimes dissonance can be good when put in the right place, actually.
So when did you realize that producing music was going to be something that you were, going to be at? Like,
I don't know. I don't even know if I still know. But
yeah, I mean, like,
but yeah, something that I'm gonna like do.
I mean, okay,
put my time into.
What I see is someone with like a true budding career in music.
Wow, thank you.
You have what, like 14 or 15,000 monthly listeners. You have a song with 6 digit with he's a 6-figure streamer.
Digits. 6-figure streaming is not 6-figure dollar stuff.
Yeah, but nonetheless, like, it's a big number.
No,
like, seeing that is amazing.
Thank you.
So, like, I mean, what was what I want to talk to you about?
Okay, hit me.
Social media.
Because love it.
I'm a big believer, and you're probably also a big believer in the fact that music wins. You could have 0 social media presence, but if your music is phenomenal, your music will win, and you will get booked at big places. But social media is extremely important. It's the reason that you're sitting here right now.
It is.
Like,
it's
I would
beautiful.
exactly, and it really does push your music. Like, even if you don't have the greatest song of all time, I mean, like, I will be making that soon, but and I'm gonna delete all my social media. I'm kidding. For the listeners, I'm obviously kidding, but I want to know about your experience with social media, because you have blown up on social media. It's true. You've gone viral on social media.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had my little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My experience. I mean, the thing is, a lot of my time since picking up music has been a lot of learning, and I feel like I really didn't pick up social media or feel like this is the right time to start, putting things out there like that, because it's like a whole different game. It's like having that it's like, every day I would sit down and make music or learn something or build skills necessary. Then after a while, I was like, I think I need to incorporate, posting and sharing things along the way. And
So the stuff that you put on social media, a lot of it is like very properly filmed.
properly filmed.
Yeah, like I saw something where you were very recent. Like this is a very recent post where you were like sitting on a bench or something.
Yeah, I made that last week with a family friend of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like it's high quality stuff, and even some stuff is hilarious. Like when you had like, you started off showing. I loved it. I actually laughed out loud when I saw this. You posted a video where you were making a song in Ableton and showing how you were making it, and then you stopped the video halfway through and you said, "Wait a minute, no one cares how I make this stuff."
Oh, did I do that?
Yeah, this is a while ago, but yeah, you.
It was when I was right. Oh, it was like the two people thing. I was like having a conversation with myself.
I don't remember if there was that aspect
Yeah, it was like,
to
there was
it.
like there was like a play on it. Yeah, it was a play on the whole thing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that probably just comes from my cynicism about it, and like I feel like no one cares. So instead of like dwelling on it, I just made something about it. I think to express that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Well, I sort of have a parallel thought in that, like, when it comes to Graham Radio, one thing that I find is that if I record a podcast, like, okay, this podcast, I'm gonna edit this and I'm gonna put it on SoundCloud, and it's gonna be available to listen to audio and visual. It's gonna be on, the full thing is gonna be on YouTube, and the full thing is gonna be on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna be putting the clips on Graham Radio.
Oh yeah,
and not
probably the most important thing is the clips.
It is. Because 9 out of 10 people who say, "Oh my God, I saw your Harrison interview. That was so cool."
The clips.
I'm gonna ask them, "Oh, did you like listen to it?" And they're gonna say, "No, but I saw it on Instagram." So like, I forgot how I got to that, but that is like, how the fuck did I get to that? I'm gonna cut this part out. But what were we just talking about?
Kind of talking about my relationship with social media, and I mean, I feel like this is a topic of where the medium is at, meaning a lot of it is like in short form stuff.
Yes,
and that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, like
right now.
The short form really takes you to the long form. Like, even though a lot of people just see the little Graham Radio clips, and a lot of people might just see the little Harrison clips, at the end of the day, a lot of those people are clicking the link and going and watching my video and going and listening to your songs.
Yeah, I mean, short form definitely is dominating right now, has this been for the past 3 years. And I know it's hard for a lot of musicians, especially those who came up during when SoundCloud was popular, which is kind of past my time. SoundCloud has been it's kind of reviving. It's kind of dope there, but like, I don't know if you were listening to SoundCloud in 2013, 12, 14.
Yeah, sure.
But that was a place where you literally put up a song and like people were there. It was kind of like the TikTok of back then in terms of engagement, and people who were like, artists would grow tremendously just through SoundCloud alone. And I think that was really proper because the artist makes the music, they put it out, it's received. Now it's like you make the music and that's just one part of it. Then it's like, how do I present this? What can I do, alongside of this to sell the idea to make them go to SoundCloud? That's kind of what happened on TikTok. Is I made these videos. I mean, I was kind of copying people. I was kind of copying trends of what if I take this song and make it into house.
Mm-hmm.
And that idea just directs people to the SoundCloud. And then when they go to the SoundCloud, you have to have another thing which directs them to this. So it's kind of like a bit of a longer funnel.
So if you could go back, in time to when you first started producing music and give yourself some advice, what would you tell yourself?
I mean, I probably wouldn't want to screw around with it, but what do I tell myself? The feeling you have of belief that you felt is like totally true, and just to not, when everything's telling you no, like it's not, that's just obstacles, and it's supposed to help you out.
What does that mean, that feeling of belief? Like, when did you have that, and what were you believing?
Sure. Feelings of belief. I mean, I had tricklings of belief, making mashups by myself or DJing frat parties and being, DJing with people and seeing crowds respond, or, I mean, I'll tell you I kind of believed in myself. I started producing music, and then things really changed when I had to make a decision. I was a senior. I was graduating with a business degree and a business law minor. My parents wanted me to go to law school, and I didn't know what, it didn't sound like what I wanted to do, but when you graduate, you're supposed to do something, right? And it was hard because it's like an inconvenient time to feel these things, because like figure your life out, have it figured out. I'm sure everyone who's been to college has that feeling that comes senior year. And it really changed. Actually, after I graduated, I went to a music festival called Electric Forest.
Nice.
Electric Forest is a beautiful festival. My number one goal right now is to play Electric Forest. That's like my top goal. But I went there, and my girlfriend at the time took me, and I had these experiences there. It's a very magical place. Like it's in the forest. There's a lot of community there. It's not just like a music festival. There's like art and all sorts of things. But when I was there, I really felt like truly connected to like my creative spirit, and felt like it was me. Things that I felt here and there felt like me all the time for like 4 days, basically. And after that, I was like, I just had this thing that carried me, like that experience carried me forward, basically. So that was when I felt it the most, and I still feel it now. It's like the same. It's like the same place.
So being at Electric Forest made you feel like you could do it.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
this festival exists. There are people on that stage, and there's no reason why that can't be me.
Sure, there was that, seeing something physical and feeling like I could do it, but it's also something that isn't really rational. It's just like a feeling. It's kind of like when you fall in love with someone, or you know in your gut something is right. Like, someone, you feel like someone's shady and you don't know why. Or you feel like, you left something on at home, but you don't know why. It's more of like an intuition. It's more like a knowing, something that doesn't like make sense.
There's a great line in the book, The Alchemist, where...
Oh yeah, Pablo Coelho, right?
I honestly don't know who wrote it.
I've read The Alchemist, yeah.
And the protagonist, who I think is is he nameless?
It's like a young boy.
Yeah, the boy,
following
he falls in love with Fatima, and someone asks him like, "Oh, like why do you love Fatima?" And the boy says, like, sometimes there's no reason for loving, you just love. And that really connected with me. Like, some things don't need a rational explanation. Some things are just a feeling, and they push you to act. So I think that that explanation, that answer for like what is the belief, and like where did you recognize that, I think it's a beautiful answer.
But it's hard to explain it to people like my parents. I mean, at the time, my dad was a guitarist. He was in a band his whole life, so I feel like he always kind of understood because he lived that life. Like
it's hard to convince your parents about that.
He was a professional. But my mom definitely lives on the physical plane for sure. She's definitely like, things are physical, which is beautiful. They have a beautiful. There's a harmony between the way they think that leads to good parenting. But it was definitely hard to explain that when they're like, what you've been making. Do you even make, like, they didn't understand. Like, I just started doing music.
Right.
It's like, where's the thing? Like, where's the thing? And it's like,
they'll understand where the thing
they
is.
do. No,
when you
they do now.
Like,
but
that's great.
Yeah.
Like, I think that when it comes to parents accepting that their child wants to be an artist, I think that like the true moment of exception comes when like you invite them over and they like see like, oh, he has like a house that he's paying for. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it was when my mom, I think my dad, like I said, my dad is a musician. He's always sort of believed, definitely, in what I was going after. But when my mom first like heard things that were good, and like heard me using my voice, and I never sang before then, so I think there was this huge leap in like skill and experience, and that she physically saw through like a video and heard, where she's like, oh, there's something. And then
it's amazing.
Yeah,
great mom.
I think when she first heard things that were good, which didn't come for a bit, then it kind of made sense more for her.
Yeah.
She still is like, she believes in me.
A big piece of advice that I hear a lot is, in order to get good at making music, you need to make a lot of shitty music.
Absolutely. Also copying, not copying, but like taking music really like. I remember taking A$AP Rocky beats and just dragging it into my DAW and just like seeing where all the drums line up and just like kind of like remaking the drum beat, or learning the chords to a song, like I said before. Like the blueprints are already there, kind of just like
What equipment
practice.
do you use to produce music?
Sure, yeah, I have Ableton on a laptop.
Right.
I also have a desktop I use in my studio at home. Normal KRK speakers, like anyone else. Just a MIDI keyboard and plugins, a few reverbs, auto-tune, nothing crazy.
Yeah. What plugins do you use?
I really go by these plugins called Sound Toys. They have a distortion called Decapitator, which my friends know that's kind of like a meme with me, because I basically every session I have someone, I somehow convince someone to use Decapitator. It can be used as like a guitar distortion, it can be used as a vocal distortion, kind of anything. But many times, I turn it up and my friend's like, I don't know, and I'm like, no, like leave it, like this is dope. I live by Sound Toys, H Still A by Waves, Valhalla, Vintage Verb, Good Hertz Lossy. It's like a Y2K like filtery thing that makes things sound like it's on like a cell phone, but like digitally, really cool. Yeah, those are a few plugins I really like.
So we've been going for how long now?
Probably half an hour now.
36. Okay.
We can move.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that I hit everything that I wanted to see. So,
what do you guys think?
You got some great stuff.
Yeah, really great stuff.
One clip you really
Ooh.
There's been a couple times where I've been like, okay, yeah, that's clippy.
There was a really
Cool.
good one about the songs that like you like, and like, yeah,
Like copying songs that I like to learn.
like when you're learning music theory to play songs that you like.
Yeah.
You have a spiritual connection to, or like that you like. Yeah, you have a
Yeah.
connection to it.
Because theory is just theory. It's like learning law out of a book is one thing, but like I'm not sure what you do within law, but I'm sure the practice of it in the real world is like not like books. There's just like books. Like it's not like.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
It's not until you deal with someone and their problems that like you actually like learn like what it means to practice law. I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's like, I've heard people tell me all about their ideas for what they want to do in music, but until
I don't like living in ideas with music. I have to act on them, because sometimes you have dope ideas and like they end up sucking. But it's always important to like try the idea though. I always act that way and like creatively with people. I love collaborating with people because I feel like people they like gift me things, and something comes out of it that's so beautiful that wouldn't have happened by myself, and it makes it easier. It's kind of like a hack. And I always just act on any idea. I'm just like, let's try it, because even if it sucks, it always like leads me. It doesn't work, not sucks. It doesn't work out. It like leads somewhere else. Or, say you're finishing a song and someone's like, why don't we try this? And I don't know about it. Instead of being like, nah, I go, let's try it. Then we both don't like it, and it's like, okay, we don't like that. That's not what the song needs. So it informs you either way. So always following action.
And if you didn't know that was an option beforehand, then you can use that in your arsenal later when you're making a different song, and you can use that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about the album that you have.
The first.
And it's called
One Lovely Yesterday.
So yeah. I want to talk about your album.
It's been a while since that.
Right.
Definitely different. It's different.
So
music
hold on. For the clip, let me just ask.
Oh, please. Sorry.
So you have an album, not just like an EP or single. You have an album called One Lovely Yesterday, and I want to hear about the production of that album.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that was a really cool time in my life. I had a lot to say, like in my heart, which is probably why every song I think has my vocals on it. There was a lot I had to say, and it was a point in my life where I just moved into a new house with I live with my cousin, who's my mentor. Who is my mentor?
What's his name? Hart.
His name is Steven.
What's his artist name? Steven. Oh. What? Okay. Sorry. I thought whatever.
You're good. Yeah. His name is Steven, and his artist name is Steven. Just one word. But we moved into a new place, and we both had studios upstairs. It's just we have studios and rooms like here, and it was really cool because there was such a collaborative nature of him working on his stuff and me working on my stuff. And I noticed him really, he would hear things passing, like being in the kitchen, and come in and just be like, yo, I hear this melody, and like do something, and it would unlock like the whole world for me. And I'd be like, whoa. And yeah, it's quite an album where I used distortion quite a lot, I think, and like maximalism, I felt like.
And this was the time that
yeah.
you were making the album.
Yeah, this was like 2019 through 2020. One of the song that you said, Six Figures, Terrified of Loving You, is on that album with Steven and my friend Taylor. Yeah.
What was the recording of that song like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was in his studio, and I think we were just playing around, like just playing instruments together, and he was leaving to go to a friend's place, and he's a drummer, so he has a drum kit in his room, and first he played something on the keyboard, the synth you first hear in the beginning of the song, and I'm like, yo, that's tight, hit capture, and like Ableton can recapture what you just played, and then I looped it up and adjusted a few things, and he's like, yo, I gotta go, and I'm like, just play the drums for 1 second, and he did one pass on the drums, and I basically made the whole song out of a one pass on drums and this one thing he played. And then, then I did some vocals on it that night. This is when I was first like really getting into vocals and learning what it meant to do vocals, meaning I was learning that getting in the booth and just having no idea what I'm doing and just turning on auto-tune and just letting shit out. Like you would find melodies or words or things that that really felt good on the track. And I did this verse, and I showed it to him the next day, and he's like, this is sick. And this is someone I look up to, so I was like, this is awesome. And we worked on it the next day and did like the chorus. Then I had my friend Taylor, who I work with a lot, re-sing, do the chorus like hook part. And yeah, I worked on it over the next like 8 months and wrapped it up.
So
It
you
was
worked
quite
on it.
quick.
So you worked on it for 8 months.
On and off. Like I remember having a lot of hard times with the vocals, like getting when I initially did the vocals, there's a certain feeling you get when you first do vocals over a track that you haven't tracked on before, a new beat you're hearing, where like the tonality and the emotion and like the energy level is like in the pocket and freestyling more or less. And I had like half of the verse and trying to do the rest of the verse and do a verse too, trying to match that initial like feeling I laid down was quite hard, because I would come in too hot, like too loud, or so a lot of time was like doing a bunch of vocal takes, not every day for 8 months, but you know.
So when you put it out,
Yeah.
did you have expectations for that song? When you put that album out, did you think to yourself, this is the song that's gonna blow up?
No, I didn't know what to. I actually didn't know what to think. I put out one song before that. This is also I was working with an indie label on this album that I don't work with anymore. Now I just do things independently. But I remember not having much expectation. But I remember the label being like, "This is the most streams we've ever gotten in a day. This song is doing like great," because Steven has he's been doing it for a while and has a lot of fans, and I think the song was a surprise, and a lot of people listened to it on the first day through like release radar and stuff. So that kind of just triggered like.
What's the benefit? What's the benefit of working with a label versus being independent?
Sure. In short, what attracted me to a label was, one, I felt like I had no clue what I was doing with social media or anything. Like I just feel like I needed help with marketing. I like they didn't help me with music at all. Like I know what I want. I know how it sounds. I do everything with me and my friends. Like I got that. I just didn't know what to do with the marketing. So they provided like some resources. One of the guys, Danny Pollock, the label's called Nobody Gets It. They're an indie label, and the guy, one of the owners, Danny Pollock, he heads a music video production company, not just videos but all sorts of things, and they do huge projects. And I'm like, wow, that's a huge resource base for me to pull from to help with marketing and videos and things like that. So I would say resources and experience is what attracted me to that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think we're all good, right?
Cool.
Okay, let's end it and then we'll do a mix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else though? Like I think that we hit like origins. We hit like getting into Ableton. We hit Did we talk about Love Your Smile? We did. Yeah, I think we talked about it. Like
Mike might have been all up in my dome.
It's fine. That's honestly fine. It's like it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Let's. I think we're good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to cover?
Sure.
Yeah.
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 I mean, we got a little bit of like the emotive like origins, which I definitely feel like is like unique to me, which I want to talk about, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, do you want to?
No, we did. Talk
Okay.
about
Cool.
it.
Cool.
Like,
Cool.
where,
Okay.
Where I felt inspiration, things like that.
Perfect.
Maybe you could just ask like future, like what are you working on right now?
Sure.
Just for general.
So you have a very awesome and budding Spotify presence, which is extremely important for the industry that you're in. I want to talk about future. What is going on in the studio? Give me a sneak peek at some cool stuff.
Sure. Well, about 2 months ago, I actually went through all of my projects and collected all the songs that are like past 70% that I like really, really resonate with. And when I really resonate with something, like I believe it. Because I make stuff all the time. I throw stuff away all the time. I collected everything. It's about like 35 songs. And sent it to my friends who are helping, my friends who are managers in the industry, kind of like help me out, basically. And so I kind of like stopped making music for the past like month. I've just been focusing on like marketing and things. So I have a bunch of songs that I'm going to be releasing, one being an EP called Dirt, which is house music, sort of along the lines of Matroda a bit, what we're seeing today. A little bit, I'm gonna play some today.
Nice.
A little bit, darker tonality, which is sort of a contrast, I feel like, to how I like operate. So yeah, it's called Dirt. It's 6 tracks. I'm finishing up, so that's one EP. Then I have another EP that I'm calling Follow the Sun right now. That's more things like I Love Your Smile, a little more vibrant, a little faster house, like 135, bright sun feeling. So yeah, I have it all in the vault. I'm kind of just moving with what's working right now.
I see. I'm looking into your future, and I see an E Forest set. First half is
Yes.
Sunshine. What was it? Sun.
Follow the Sun.
Follow the Sun. First half is like a fun Follow the Sun. Second half is just the dirty dirt.
I'm gonna do that for this mix because I don't know what I know what I'm starting with. But I don't know what I'm gonna do.
All right.
Maybe I'll do this.
So for the listeners, this is a sneak peek at a future E Forest set, which is very exciting.
Let's make it happen.
And even more context, we're about to hit a takeover series set, and if you're a listener of Graham Radio, you know exactly what that means. If you're not, I have the takeover series on my SoundCloud. Just go to the Graham Radio SoundCloud, find the takeover series. I think I honestly, by the time I post yours, which will probably be like a few weeks from now, I might even be at 50. You might be 50.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe less. I don't know. Between 40 and 50. Whatever. Well, this has been wonderful. Where can people find you?
People find me?
Yeah.
On Earth?
Yeah, well,
on Earth?
What about on the internet?
Sure, yeah. Man, this kind of sucks because I'm trying to make all my socials one handle, and I haven't found the name yet.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to like give my socials, right? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think on TikTok, I'm Harrison Makes House. On Instagram, this is me.
Harrison with a U. H-A-R-R-I-S-U-N.
Harrison with a U, like the sun. Harrison.
Yes. Harry Sun. It's incredible interview. Very happy that I had you on. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Tampa.
Oh yeah, we're here.
Let's get a little reckless.
Let's do it.
Let's get a little reckless for Matroda.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Is it
Hey.
Matroda or Matroda? Matroda.
I think it's Matroda.
I think it's Matroda. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Cool. I think that was good.
Yeah, that was great.
was
All right.
good.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
I
that
learned
was
about
great.
mic placement.
Yes, that's important. All right. Cool.
Okay.
For the listeners, I love you. Peace.
Let's go.
All right. That was awesome.